Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, innovation, technology, communication, all of this, it's really creating really wonderful situation, but it's also a very difficult situation. We are facing as human, as in every aspect of our life, great challenges, new challenges that's never seen in a human history. And to obtain or to be up to the task, it's really difficult because it's happening on a speed and scale that is phenomenal. Systems that are around the world, that thousands of years, societies, cultures that has been developed for thousands of years, it's suddenly becoming in a very difficult situation. Some of the systems are collapsing even. Not only because they are not valid anymore, but the change that is happening to the technology industry like aviation, what we saw, transportation and so forth, is so amazing. And putting us as city planners, as architects, and really in trouble to cope up with such a speed. The reason why I chose Mecca as a case study, not only to show that this city is having really a difficult time to organize itself between the old system and the new systems, and to cope up with such a fast-based changes. Mecca is not only a city, it's not a typical city that you can only start on a plate, that you can design it really the way you wish. There are certain rituals that are described in Quran and in Sunnah, and Muslims has to follow this strictly, these events, and perform different tasks while they are doing the pilgrimage. While you are doing that, it's not easy and simple to say, all right, let's really change or let's really make it bigger or wider or smarter. Sometimes it has to be the way it is. But you add to this, nowadays we have a lot of people are wishing to do this pilgrimage. They are from different cultures. They are from different parts of societies and education. And to really simply say, to guide people through these rituals, it's almost, it's really amazing task. And we did this collage, which we presented in one of the exhibitions. This basically tells you how really it's like an epic to every sector of the government, the policemen, the transportation, the cleaners, traffic organizers, doctors, and so forth. At that period of time, which is 10 days on the year, they are really in trouble, and you don't wish to be in that position, to be honest. The whole system of the city collapsed under this kind of a new condition that is happening. And you can imagine, even if you take any sectors like water, electricity, food, you will be amazed how much the volume that is being consumed in that only 10 days, that during Hajj is almost the consumption of water compared to countries around the year. Of course, technology is great, we all enjoy it. Communication is great, we all enjoy it. Transportation is great, we all enjoy it. But this, it's really adding a lot of pressure on the cities, and especially in cities that are, shall we say, historical. And if you see the changes through thousands of years to the Holy Mosque, it's been really subtle, slow, But the last 30 years or 40 years, from the 70s all the way to 2000 and 2020, is just amazing. It almost tripled its speed and volume and size. This is Mecca in 2 centuries ago. And the black one, you see, it's the area and footprints of the developments. And the white, you see it is in the mountains surrounding the Haram area. This is in 2010, and you can see the mountains are almost disappearing around the Kaaba. Of course, now we have technology. We are very strong, smart, speed, so forth. But is it really good? Sometimes you do, and then you regret you are doing it at that speed, because we are destroying really nature that has existed millions of years and was a character, a kind of a character of the city. Now we have the power to erase it and say, okay, we can resolve the issues quickly. The city is growing so fast that it's even joining with nearby city, Jeddah, and becoming a one zone, continuous urban developments. When we say Mecca, usually this comes to our mind as kind of nostalgic vision, where it's beautiful, vernacular, very, very beautiful. It has an aura, you know, of a holy city. You go through this beautiful alleyways, and then you pass this wonderful arcade, and the scale of Kaaba is just perfect. And you really feel that beautiful scale as a human being. For me, as an architect, I see this one as a really intelligent society which dealt with the environment, with social aspects, with material limitation. And for me, this is a technology. This is really a cutting edge. And not only that, but it shows a society that is very sensible and poetic. And all the miniatures that you see old miniatures that you see, they are really depicting this wonderful mingling between architecture, nature, mountain, and the Haram. And it was nature, or the mountains, was part of history as much as buildings and sites and events. We did this one as a kind of a modern miniature, where we said, maybe if you talk about Mecca, this is what's happening now. It's a really, shall we say, I will leave it to you how you feel about this. Of course, the inspiration is there, you know. We are a human, we are facing problems, we live very short, we want solution very quickly. Where we can't find solutions, all right, inspirations from somewhere else. But that doesn't mean, sometimes it doesn't fit, and sometimes it creates a condition that is contradicting to the concept of a sacred city and a holy city. The tower as an ultimate urban icon. Again, Mecca, that is supposed to be a social place, a place where people will be equal, the poor and rich, and we wear the same clothes, and you cannot tell the difference. Now joining the race of being the number one of height, the symbol of power. And not only this, but the scale has become such appalling that it's really changing the scapes and the feeling of the holiness of the site. Of course, if you put a crescent or a symbol on top of a building, that doesn't make it more Islamic. There are more values, there are more. If you see the section here, how the city was really respecting the skyline and respecting the scale of the Kaaba. And it was almost a crime if you really built higher than the Kaaba itself. Disrespect to the place. And look at the scale of this. This is a picture taken by me by my phone, and it's from actually the other side, looking toward the tower. And actually, many people who are doing the tawaf, not anymore looking at the Kaaba as a centerpiece, but taking their iPhone. And unfortunate, this is reality. Taking their iPhone and taking selfie with the tower. And this is also considered before a really disrespect to give his back to the Kaaba. But the guy is just enjoying a new technology, and the scale of that tower definitely is dominant. We are a human being. When we see such a symbol and such a strong gesture, our thinking goes toward that. Lots of criticism coming from Saudi Arabia, from Mecca. It is the commercialization of the house of God, says Sami Angawi. Would you allow that tower in Rome or even in the middle of London? The argument is that Mecca, you cannot treat it as a bad copy of any city. You need to really sensibly look at the situation there and resolve it and use technology not to destroy the history, but to really work in a smarter way to resolve the issues. That is, I think it's very important to resolve the amazing issues and difficult issues, but in a sensible way. Again, joining the trend all over the world is the commercialization, globalization. We are even selling views of the Kaaba. You know, if you can have a view here, they can sell it for you for a higher price. And this is actually an advertise for Zamzam Tower, that you can have a beautiful view toward the Kaaba. Here where you see the old systems and the new systems completely contradicting each other. No sensibility, no level of thinking to integrate your own way and your own philosophies of modern world because of the speeds that we are living in nowadays. I'm not going to comment on this. Again, we censored the mermaid, you know. This is the Starbucks Mecca logo. Simply it can be now. Solutions. Sometimes you need to think in a bigger scale. You need to think outside the box and identify, and all of a sudden when you think zoomed in a way that is further from the problem itself, you can find solutions that is really easy. There are 25% of Mecca and Jeddah which are really unplanned settlements. This is the tower, you can see it here. You don't need to build around the Kaaba itself. You don't need in every 20 years destroy the urban tissue, the history, all what you got, which is being destroyed now. It's unfortunate. You cannot rebuild this. But thinking of solutions that are a little bit different. Find the places where you can do your development, enhance your city, make a public transportation or a new kind of transportation that suits the conditions and nature of that city. And then you can have a wonderful solution and not destroying your history, which is the most important thing in holy cities. Again, another solution, as I said, you find areas and identify areas, and this is a real project that I was designing together with the. We identified a beautiful plot in between the rituals of Hajj. And having a solution that is more sensible and working with the natural conditions, with the infrastructure that is existing, and optimize it as much as possible. You don't need to destroy mountains to make developments, but identify places where are easy to develop and make it a bit denser, that's no problem. Make it a bit modern, this is great. But again, put the human scale and the human needs as a first thing to tackle. Here what we did is that we give the strength to the people, again, to the streets, back to street life, and created a multiple connections and accessibilities to the developments on the different floors. And we took also the natural elements, the wind direction, the sun, creating shade and shadows, the nature of the developments, the views that is existing already on the site historically, and coming up with completely a different solution, and optimizing the small areas and lands of that site, and create a beautiful connection, direct connections, public connections between the sites and the Holy Mosque. Again, this is a model we have done carefully, how we really integrated even a higher volume into the urban structure and the topography without a need to bulldoze some of the mountains. Yes, there is a reality on the ground that you need to build higher, all right? But you don't need to build it in the historical zone. You can really find and identify areas where you can build the building. And also giving the complexity for the people and the pedestrian. And all the infrastructure, cars, transportation can be done in a smarter way, that you create such a beautiful atmospheres on the ground floor. One of the concepts that we said, let's zoom in even further. And sometimes when you zoom in even further, you can find beautiful solutions. This is Mecca, this is Jeddah. This area, it's wonderful for a new city. Why we don't have a beautiful city that is 20 minutes only away from the central part of Mecca, and have a beautiful, and use the existing infrastructure to plug into both cities. And a city that is completely independent, it can have its own port. The infrastructure could really support both cities, Mecca and Jeddah, and create a beautiful condition here where we don't have to touch the historical part of Mecca. And in the future, it could really grow into a huge city and zone and region that they work together, and you don't have to do most of your solution and development so concentrated on the holy sites. Thank you very much.